Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Folge von Radikal Glücklich, deinem Podcast für ein strahlendes, wunderbar gut gelauntes Leben. Heute mit einem englischen Interview, Folge 223. Manna on low-waste cooking. After a short German introduction, there will be the English interview. Just stay tuned. Okay, ihr Lieben, ihr hört schon, es wird ein englisches Gespräch, aber super gut verständlich. Und Manna müsst ihr kennenlernen. Er hat ein tolles neues Kochbuch draußen, You Can Cook This, und ich liebe seinen Instagram-Account. Beides ist verlinkt unten in den Shownotes. Und das Buch geht darum und auch seine Arbeit geht darum, nicht nur das pflanzliche Essen uns leichter zu machen, sind tolle Veggie-Rezepte für jeden Tag dabei, die man easy plant-based kochen kann, sondern es geht auch darum, kein Essen mehr wegzuwerfen. Das heißt, er guckt, dass wir Reste verwerten, dass wir Dinge, die vielleicht oll geworden sind, besser nutzen können, weil, wie er im Interview so schön sagt, wir unser Essen mit unserem Geld kaufen. Und das haben wir uns erarbeitet irgendwie. Wir haben also Energie reingebracht und wir wollen es doch ganz nutzen, insbesondere weil die Welt braucht, dass wir alle nicht so viel verschwenden. Ich habe das Interview sehr genossen und ich hoffe, ihr auch. Und während wir schon mal über Bücher sprechen, eine kleine Werbeunterbrechung für mein eigenes Buch Spiritual Leadership, was am 21.06. herauskommt. Du findest das Buch schon überall zum Vorbestellen. Sprich deinen Buchladen an, schnapp es dir und es wird 2 Buchveranstaltungen geben. 21.06. Duisburg, 17 Uhr bei Spielwaren Roskoden, 22.06. Bochum, Buch im Busch. Ich freue mich riesig auf euch, wenn ihr Zeit habt, vorbeizukommen. Und jetzt ganz viel Spaß bei der Folge mit diesem tollen Koch und innovativen Menschen. So I'm happy and thrilled to have a new interview up on the podcast. Welcoming you, Manna. You made a fabulous second book, a cookbook, which I already have at home. I didn't try it yet, but I had to read it. And loved it so far because it's all about no waste and lots of vegetarian and vegan options. So maybe you want to introduce yourself first, because I didn't actually knew you before. I got the cookbook, so maybe you want to say some words about your the steps that led you to this new work you just released.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Silja, for having me on your show, on your podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Manna. I'm a low-wage chef. I'm an author. I'm a digital content creator. I've worked in restaurants for over 15 years. And about 6 years ago, I started creating recipe content on social media. I started creating content, like recipe videos and content on social media, and started posting that. And little by little, people started becoming a little bit more and more aware of the kind of ethos and message I had around food. Food is a big part of my life. It is constantly being wasted and thrown away. And it brings me joy to feed other people. So I've now published my second cookbook and my second German cookbook. So I'm really excited and thrilled to be here in Germany right now to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, so sad that I can't meet you in Berlin to record this, so we have to do it online. It would have been so much fun. So what I loved in the book is you say in the beginning that that really kind of broke your heart to see all that food wasted and thrown away. And can you tell me a little more about why that hit you so hard and what your thoughts are on this?
Yeah, I think from an early age, my parents would tell me to never waste my food. And of course, I'm sure we all have wasted food one time or another. But it didn't really leave an impact on me. But it was always planted in the back of my mind that, food is wasted and there's other people around the world who are starving. Food brings me so much joy. So to be able to feed other people with food and seeing the look and the smiles and the happiness that comes to them makes me, there's no better feeling than that. So having worked in restaurants and seeing where all this food was being wasted, I started questioning all this, all these kind of patterns that I started to kind of create. And I just started questioning where does this food go when we waste it? What happens to it? And what does that mean to the planet? What does that mean to us? What does that mean to our pockets, to like the money that we spend on food? So I started doing a little bit more and more research and understanding what happens to food and what that means. And I thought, there has to be another way. This hasn't always been the way. We haven't wasted food, centuries and generations prior, but it's only in the last few decades where consumers and people in the homes, in the hospitality, in the restaurants, and the farms, where we're overproducing, we're overbuying, and so that means that we're throwing away more food than we actually need to bring into our own homes. And with the world being where it's at right now, with so many hungry people around the world, we can feed people from the waste that we threw away, and it's perfectly fine to eat, but it just ends up being wasted. So that breaks my heart. And food is meant to, again, it goes back to that question. Food is meant to be enjoyed with other people. And so if we're wasting it, then we're missing those opportunities to connect with people.
Totally, totally. And I feel that, thank you for explaining this a little more deep, because I really felt when I went through your book that it gives so much easy options. Like you don't have to waste so much time to cook something delicious or do something from things you would actually throw away easily before. So I really love that about the book. And what I kind of think myself to why people are why we are sometimes eating also so much junk and not cooking for us and our loved ones is that we are in that constant time rush feeling. So that kind of time is speeding up and we take time for like our phone, but not to cook ourselves a good meal or to do something.
Oh, absolutely.
So I love that option to do more. Let's talk about that. When I went through it, I saw lots of healthy options, but there are also really yummy stuff. Of course, it all is healthy, but I would say, like in your book, there are different degrees of like really clean food and also like normal food, which is just put in vegetarian options. So let's tell me something about how you think on health and what we need to eat, and should we have a strict regime or not? Would love to hear about that.
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Silja. I don't think we should demonize food. Food is, it can be a very nuanced conversation. It can be very difficult to have with people who might have struggles with with food and with eating and dieting and all these things. And we're constantly being fed information from media, from what we see on the internet, people telling us to fast or don't fast and don't eat this and drink that and all these things. And it's like, well, what am I doing? What am I doing? So again, I think food, it has to resonate with you first and foremost, what you like and what's good for you, and there are times where, let's say I eat a balanced diet where, I make sure that I have enough vegetables and enough protein, and I think about exactly what I'm eating. And then there's times where I may just relax and just go, yeah, exactly. Throw my hands up and just like, I'm going to enjoy myself and have, other foods that may not be seen as quote unquote healthy. So, the recipes that I'm trying to create are all about using the food we have in our homes. We earn money to then spend money on food, to then bringing it home and then wasting it. So what's really important is that we cook the food we have, because that is going back to the time and the energy we spend in our jobs and the work that we do, because it's money. So it's important to treat yourself in those moments. So, there's a wide selection of recipes here that could be 15-minute recipes that are quick and easy. There's weekend showstoppers where you want to have a big feast with friends and family, or you want something that's a little bit cheeky and, you want to maybe fry some donuts or maybe fry some tofu and you have a nice crispy, crunchy, salty, delicious treat to treat yourself. So I think it's all about balance. I'm not a health specialist, but I always feel that we should just ask ourselves, what am I feeling right now? What is good for me? And I think our bodies know more than we know.
Always. 100%.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
What do you think?
Well, totally. I think that I really had to learn this, and I'm always happy to meet people who are obviously some years younger than I am. Because you guys, you are so also already into the problems of the world. I think I kind of was twirling around myself when I was in your age. But coming to now, what I really had to learn was I can do a really strict regime. I can be like, I used to be 100% plant-based for like 10 years and wouldn't look at the signs of my body when I came into menopause and stuff. So I had to, and then I worked with a Chinese medicine specialist, and she taught me to listen to my body more. And that was really interesting because my mind had like this ideal version of myself, drinking all those green smoothies and juicing the whole day. But my body was craving something else. So to get that balance again and get myself into let go of any conditioned ideal, which is made up of media and whatever, and go back to, okay, what are my true values and what does my body need right now? So that was a good journey, and I think I'm not done already. Maybe we are never done. Could be. So let us talk about the book a little. Do you have like 2 or 3 maybe favorite recipes which you say, okay, if you get the book, you should try at least this, and this?
This is probably the most difficult question.
I know, we love them all.
I love them all. I spent over 2 years making this book and having tested all these recipes multiple times. And I still cook these recipes every week. So it's really kind of, this is a special book. I don't know if we've shown it yet, but
yes, no, that's great. Thank you.
Oh man, this is difficult. So kartoffel. Let's do something with potatoes. I know very little German, by the way.
But you know that Germans are called kartoffel. Love that.
I even call myself a kartoffel. So here we are. So we have right here is a crispy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Crispy, so you saw this crispy smashed potato with spicy lemon mayonnaise, pickled red onions, and fresh herbs. I've spoken to a few Germans already. They said this is the best crispy smashed potato I've ever tried. Because it's not too smashed. It's just smashed gently, so you still have a crunchy outside layer and then a soft middle. And they have all the textures, all the flavors, the crunch, the spice, the heat, the acidity from the pickle, and like the freshness from the herbs. So that is my go-to. My next is this one right here.
Okay, for you guys just listening to the podcast, you can watch the video on YouTube, and he's showing all those amazing pictures. You totally go there.
That's a good point. So this is right here is the tofu butter chicken. So the tofu is pressed to remove some of the liquid. It's tossed in cornstarch, then baked. So you get this golden brown, crispy layer, soft in the middle, and it pulls apart and it shreds a little bit. So you have this like very amazing textured tofu that almost resembles the texture of chicken. And then you have this warm, vibrant, creamy, fragrant sauce that's served with rice or flatbreads. So you have something that's really comforting and warm to eat. And let's do something sweet. which I'm a big fan of this one right here, which is a chocolate cake. And it's triple chocolate. There's
Yes,
and
it's a birthday cake, isn't it?
it's a
Called a
yes,
birthday
exactly. It's a birthday cake.
cake.
It's a
It
birthday
looks
cake.
amazing. Look like
Thank
so
you.
perfect.
And this is in the section of this recipe is in a section called leftovers. So you see that amazing photo of all the ingredients that we typically see as waste and finding new creative ways of using up ingredients. So for this chocolate cake, I'm using aquafaba, which is the liquid in chickpea water. It's chickpea water, but it's found in the tin of chickpeas, and so it's using up that liquid, that aquafaba, and it whips up into a white foam, and it's really thick, and it makes the cake very kind of voluminous and airy, and it's again a nice, lovely,
Definitely.
a lovely birthday cake. So those are I think 3 recipes that I really enjoy right now.
That's cool. Thank you for making a choice, even it was a hard one. So tell me about when you say you cook those and you love being with people. So was there a special moment someday in your past where you cooked for people and you really felt like this is your calling, that's what you need to do? Like one moment the spark really hit you?
I think it was a combination of multiple moments in my life. So my surname, Manna, which I just recently found out the meaning to it because my father didn't know the meaning because his father passed away when my dad was only 5 years old. So and my grandfather passed away when he was 34. I'm 34 years old. So the meaning of Manna means the hand of God, and God gave food and water to those who needed food and water the most, and at times of difficulty. So there's this moment of I'm feeding people. My surname means this. Having worked in restaurants and feeding people, and I was hosting dinner parties and supper clubs from my apartment in Brooklyn, New York, and friends were saying, you need to share these recipes with more people on social media. Why don't you do this? And so it's been this combination of multiple moments in my life, and feeling I'm meant to be cooking and I'm meant to be feeding people. And this brings me, food brings me so much joy. And, that's why, I've written a cookbook. This is my second cookbook to share with people so they can cook along with me.
That's cool. That's nice. Thank you for sharing that. So when you yourself think of inspiration, like people that inspired you or books that inspired you, mentors, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a great question because I try to receive information and inspiration from everywhere I look. And most often, when I'm in the kitchen, I might just ask the question, what can I do with this particular ingredient? And just asking that question puts my brain and my head into this process to think about how I can use this ingredient. It's better than looking up, recipes online or looking through, cookbooks. I mean, cookbooks are great, but I think they're meant to be like a blueprint to give you inspiration, and then you can kind of riff off of that and just have a good time and see what happens. But for me, it's also going to restaurants and trying food from different restaurants and seeing, okay, if I really enjoy something, Silja, if I really enjoy something, I take a photo of the menu and I write down the experience, and I write down what food kind of spoke to me the most. And then I'll try to find a way when I get back home to recreate that dish, but in my own way, because I love cooking, but I don't want to spend 4 hours, 5 hours in the kitchen. I want to spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes max.
Me too.
how can I find a recipe that is, takes 4 hours to make, but how can I make that and make it as good, if not better, than that dish in a short amount of time?
That's cool. So, when I see one of my brothers, not my brothers, I don't know how is the right pronunciation in English for our relation, our family relation. But when I see, I have a man in my family who is a really good cook, like a hobby cook, and he does like really easy things, but they taste amazing. So sometimes when I eat with him, I really love it, and I try to watch him what he does, and it's kind of like an art, and he's in his flow. So what do you say to people like, I think I can cook like the 20 things I know well to cook, but like when it comes to other stuff, I kind of have like the feeling that, that I might not be able to do this. What do you say to people who have like kind of a belief system that they are not good cooks?
Hmm. I think get out of your head. Stop thinking about it too much. I think home cooked meals are always the best meals. And the most important thing is that you're in the kitchen and you're cooking. So, and I always think we should celebrate the food we have, and we should experiment with new creations all the time, because you never know what's going to happen. Even for myself, I've been cooking over 15 years, close to 20 years now. For me, it is. I always walk into the kitchen having a part of me that feels anything could happen. This can be a really good day, or this could be a bad day, but this could be a really good day to experiment and see what happens. And sometimes the experiments go well, and sometimes they don't. But I think the choice of actively trying to create something is the most important part, because things can happen from there. And who knows, you may create something that's never been done before. And I'm always trying to keep that openness when I'm in the kitchen and cook every day.
So do you sometimes do you ever get, or did you ever get in your past frustrated because you wanted to create something and it just wouldn't work out, and you were just like, where's the
Oh
problem?
yeah. Oh
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
That's a relief, by the way.
oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm not 100% not perfect. Not perfect. And not all my recipes plan out the way they're meant to. When I write cookbooks, I have to test the recipes over and over and over and over again. That's why it took me 2 years, because I've tested over 300 recipes and testing them multiple times to see what works, what doesn't work. And I also have, my wife is an extreme, she's very critical of my cooking, and I call her the food critic. In our restaurant. I have one guest in my restaurant every single night, and that's her. And she's the food critic, and so she's always giving me feedback. And if I do something really well, she lets me know. But most of the time, it's what if you do this, and what if you change that, and yeah. So she gives me feedback, and so it's good to have that, because I only want to get better at what I do, and I don't think there's ever a point where you can reach where you go, this is perfect. So it just always continuing to inspire or aspire to do good in the kitchen, to make delicious food, but always try.
Cool. That's cool. That's a funny story, because I work as a coach a lot. So what you say when people with their married choices or their partners, we say that we marry our learning program.
Yeah.
So we get over things that trigger us. We marry them.
Yeah. My wife is she's very tough. She's very strong. She's a strong woman. She makes she has her own choices. Like she's very strong, and I'm very fortunate that I have somebody in my life who's like that, who's able to tell me the way it is, tell me exactly how it is, and not be gentle with me. I need tough criticism.
That's
I
cool.
can take it.
Yeah, that's cool. And if it makes you better and you can feel
Yeah,
that, and you know that somebody is honest with you, that is so much worth in that.
that's
Great.
right.
So I got a little list here.
Okay.
You didn't quite answer, so I'll come back to that. You can say now I want another question, but you didn't quite answer the question of outside inspiration. So it
Hmm.
could also be in different types. It doesn't have to be about cooking, but are there books or people, because a lot of people listening love books, and not only cookbooks, but also. And you said that when thinking about inspiration, that you ask yourself the question, what can I do with this? So you go inside and you see what comes up and be creative, which is, thanks for sharing that process. But is there anything, would you say, that really got you on your path and helped you move forward and get that cookbook done or whatever?
Hmm. Looking through, I have at home, I can't name you all the cookbooks I have because I have over 100 cookbooks. But
Wow,
going through all
that's
these
a cookbook
cookbooks,
addiction.
yeah, yeah, going through every cookbook every single night and just flipping through each recipe, almost
Wow.
looking at as like just looking at the photography, looking and seeing what's there and seeing if anything kind of jumps out at me and getting inspiration. But because I cook plant based and a lot of there's the plant based vegan movement scene cookbook industry is growing exponentially more and more. I still like getting inspiration from non-vegan cookbooks because there might be something in there that inspires me. So for me, yes, I'll look through cookbooks or I'll find something online, or I might even go for a walk and see something that stands out to me. Or it really is, I allow myself, I know you're looking for like a
No,
specific
that's cool. That's
answer.
fine. Love it.
I allow whatever to come my way and to just be open and ask the question, what can I do with this leftover loaf of bread? For example, I wrote a list last night. I was just thinking to myself, because I don't peel the vegetables, I don't peel the skin off the vegetables, but I said, oh, if I do peel the skin off like the cucumber, um, what can I do with that? And I thought, maybe if I dry the skin of the cucumber, put it in the oven and dry it out, and then I could blend it and make a powder out of it. And so I have this cucumber powder. I can do that. Or maybe with the leftover onion skins and garlic skins, if I do the exact same thing, put it in the oven and roast it or bake it on the slow heat, it dries out and I can blend that and make that into a powder. So I'm just constantly thinking of ways of being creative with food that is seen as waste. So there's not that many people who are cooking recipes like this, who are cooking low waste recipes. We're finding a use for everything in the kitchen. So I have to be push myself and push my boundaries.
Yes.
So if I see something, if I see a recipe, I'm like, okay, that's not low waste. But what in there what can I use in this recipe and make that low waste?
That's cool. Love it. And I love that you look through all kinds of cookbooks, because that's what I feel too, eating like 95% plant-based. I also like to look at some recipes and think of, okay, can I do this for me? That was like the first thing I did when I turned plant-based, to see, okay, what are my favorite dishes, eating normal, for like, or eating like,
Non-plant based. Yeah.
conditioned for like 40 years, and then I turned vegan, and my kids were like in teenage age. They hated it at first. So at first I tried to see, okay, what is loves everybody and how can we replace it? And now with you, this idea of not wasting like the skin of a cucumber or other things is a great idea and gives even more choices to do stuff. Love it. And it sounds like you're kind of like in the flow, and things that come, you try to, it seems like an organic process.
Yeah, I don't have a system. I just kind of feel whatever happens to me in the moment, and I can put it together and go from there. So it's just being expressive. And then it's right exactly what you said too about maybe recipes that I had prior to being plant-based that I enjoyed. And how can I make that plant-based? How can I make something that I had as a child? Like for me, growing up every Sunday with my family, Sunday dinner was spaghetti and meatballs. So how can I make spaghetti and meatballs, but make it vegan? How can I make it plant-based? So how can I still kind of bring back those feelings of being a child and reminiscing and that nostalgia, and still, make it plant-based.
Yes. Great. Okay. Last question. Any plans from going here? So you're now in Germany, you're promoting a book. I've seen on Instagram, you have a big account. So everybody who's listening and loves the work of Max, just go see his Instagram. I will link it in the show notes. I see you're right now here enjoying Berlin. And what comes next? So what are your plans? Anything in the pipeline?
Yeah. So after Berlin, I head to Munich for a couple of days to do some work in Munich. I head back to the UK, up to Munich, and then from there, I have a couple more cooking demonstrations and book signings throughout the rest of the year. Every month, now until January, I'm signing and doing cooking demonstrations. So it's a very busy year for me. Paris in October and New York City as well for my book tour. So I'm going to be traveling and doing a more with my book. So I'm really, to do what I do, I'm really grateful. But it's always the people who listen to this podcast, watch this video, or people who follow me on social media who give me inspiration and like the motivation to keep going forward. And it brings me a lot of joy when I meet people who are part of this community. So, Dankeschön.
You're so welcome. Bitteschön. And it's really cool because I've seen on social media that you do so much great inspiration there too. So love it. Keep up the good work and have fun signing your books. My first book got released 2 years ago and I love it. Still, when somebody comes up and lets me sign it, I'm like, yeah, of course I will do this. so much fun.
You put so much time and effort and work into something, and when it's well received and people enjoy something, it's the hard work that you spent on this pays off.
Yeah, and you kind of sit on the table from all of us when we cook your food. You're with us, kind of. You don't know it.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time and have fun in Berlin and Munich. Sounds great. And I will test recipes and I'm happy to get your book. So thank you.
Perfect. Dankeschön. Bis bald.
Bis bald. Bis bald. Hey und pst, es gibt einen neuen Podcast von mir, der ursprünglich auf einer von mir geschaffenen Kursplattform nur zur Verfügung gestellt wurde. Er heißt Zurück zur Natur und ich beschreibe darin, wie ich ätherische Öle und Supplements nutze und was ich den Leuten, die das mit mir entdecken, rate. Wenn du also Lust hast, auf diesem Weg auch mir ein bisschen zuzuhören, dann findest du Zurück zur Natur überall da, wo du auch diesen Podcast findest. Viel Spaß beim Zuhören.